Good evening. Here we are, another Tuesday, and it's CRL. Tonight, everything Bagel is where it's at. I really don't like New York. New York map is to be avoided at all costs. Look how lumpy that is. And it's a points race, so we do both KOMs, both sprints, and at the last minute, WTRL decided to give us points on all segments, FTS and FAL. FTS is the fastest through the top 5 fastest times in the whole race. Score points. FAL is first across the line, which is your traditional preem scoring. This season, top 20 guys get points, 20 downwards, 20 points for first, and so on. As I mentioned, New York is lumpy. There's really never a break. You're either going up or going down. And we begin going up pretty quickly. 3 minutes into the race, we have our first KOM. Coming into this, felt okay, and was hoping I could continue off my strong performances. As is typical, trying to stay towards the front third of the group, surf some wheels, stay in position, and just kind of work in the pack. I'm getting some draft. You can see there, 60, 70, 80 watts. Not too concerned about the numbers. Unfortunately, got a draft arrow, which is not ideal for a climbing course like this, but whatever, I took it. You'll see once we get to the top of the climb that I feel like I deployed it almost perfectly. Everyone's putting their efforts in here in their feathers, and here we come to the last little kind of climb, and I decided I was feeling okay. My heart rate was pretty high, 187, but you see I kind of put in a big effort there and hit my arrow and came across the line first. So snagged some points there, 20 points for finishing first and 8 points for finishing with one of the faster times on the day. Now this was a tricky one. The pack just zoomed through me and I had to use my anvil. Unfortunately, I kind of didn't. I was hoping to hang on to it until the sprint because it's a downhill sprint, and I kind of had to waste it to stick with the pack. But it is what it is. I think strategic usage of power-ups is sometimes necessary, and I think if I hadn't used it, it would have likely been dropped. So seeing my heart rate coming down back to 166, 65, I'm getting some recovery. You can see it dropping. But just when you think there's some recovery, there's a little, kick up. And so 4% for a couple seconds, just enough to not get fully recovered. Heart rate back up to 170s, just like that. At this point, we're a group of 20. And except for the times where we're kind of going up, it's a pretty slow speed because the chase pack managed to find us and connect, and less than ideal. See on the flats here, we're only doing 200 watts. It's pretty slow. I think a few guys just tacked on. You can see the little green dots there who are going to make it into the pack, and I think we end up with 25 or so. And then we gave it a little push, try to make it a little bit more painful for the guys who had worked really hard to try to connect, such as life. A couple sort of random, I wouldn't call them attacks, but guys taking a couple digs at the front. Fast forward a little bit to the sprint. Here we are coming up to the sprint. It is a downhill. So that before the downhill, there's a bit of a climb, and here it is. And then you crest this hill and it's just downhill. And I was going for placement here, FAL, which I did. I got 5th FAL, so 16 points, which again, I was pretty happy with. So racking up some points so far, feeling pretty strong. know that I have to conserve my energy because I have another KOM and another sprint upcoming. And so it's just the name of the game, trying to, push yourself as hard as you can without kind of exploding. Fast forward a little bit, it was pretty tame up until this point. We are going into the lumpy side of the course now, just before the KOM. We're going downhill. There's some chatter on the group. We couldn't figure out where we were going, whether it was Harlem Hill or this, whatever this is, this platform. I call it the Rainbow Road, Mario. But kind of took me a little bit by surprise, this 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% grade. I kind of wasn't expecting it. So that was a little bit of a curveball. It's messing with my music there, almost get dropped. Always focus when you're racing on Zwift, otherwise you might get dropped. So I had to burn a match just to kind of make it back towards the front third of the group, which is where I like to sit, sitting 14th, 15th of 24. And then there's a couple guys off the front there. Based on the last few weeks, I knew there was enough power in this pack to kind of make a break for it, but thankfully we worked together to close that out. You could see it came back together quite quickly. And now guys are pushing it, trying to, spread the group thin. We have somebody off the front putting in a big dig. I think this is smart, trying to burn the legs before the KOM starts. If you're able to sustain it, you have the, 3 to 5 minute power, and you're fit enough to be able to kind of push it to the front before this selection point. It's a smart tactic in my mind. We were pretty thin here, but thankfully I was able to bring it back as well. Because it's so lumpy, brakes don't really work as well on this side of the course. So now we're heading into the second KOM. This one's a bit shorter. You don't have that long kind of lead-in climb, so there's a bit of a downhill. You pick up some speed. And this is the one that has the kind of steeper ramps going up. I think it's 3 ramps and with, a little bit of a flat section in between the 3 ramps. At least that's the way that I attack this New York KOM. There's 3 efforts of about 90 seconds each. With 10 or 15 seconds rest in between. So here we are coming up to it just about now. And take a look. So here's the first ramp coming up. And then we're going to even out. You can see the blue line at the top there. So there's the first sort of rest period. And here's the second ramp going up again, 15% max. Here we are in the 9%. Feeling okay at this point. Kind of surprising. Look at my numbers. I was pushing it quite well at 400 watts or so. So second ramp is just about to be done. And I had a bit of an issue there with my bike where I was in my big chainring and I was trying to move up my cassette and everything just kind of died on me. So I had to drop into the small chainring, and I'm in the small chainring here, at 100 RPM. There's the last ramp, used my feather, made it across the line in second place and second FAL. So pretty happy with that. And then I see myself off the front. It's like, oh, well, this is interesting. I've got a second on the guy who took the FAL KOM and 2 or 3 seconds on the group. And I think to myself, well, here's a steep part. Let me use my anvil and super tuck here, see if I can create a gap, because I know that the sprint is coming up. It's really close to the KOM. So I gave a few digs, hoping that I could, keep these guys at bay. And I did manage to keep them away. So I took first FAL, scored some points there. No FTS points. I'm solo in the wind. Didn't really go that hard for it. So I was happy with my 20 points. There's 5.5K to go, and there's 7 of us in this group now. I've got Dan behind at 13 seconds, pushing the pace on the chase group, which he and I were chatting. I was asking him to kind of slow it down and not push the chase group too much, because I liked my odds in this group of 7 if it came down to a sprint. So I was asking him to take it easy back there, and by the time we connected, it was kind of a little bit too late because the group eventually kind of made the gap. Spoiler alert. But here I am again, just trying to surf wheels, recover. My heart rate's not too elevated. I know that I've got a good sprint, and that, you know, short of somebody going off the front, if it comes down to a drag race, I should be able to take it. So I'm just looking out for that, trying to cover the moves. I'm feeling okay. My heart rate's at 160. I'm in the 150s now, and keeping an eye on anyone who's, you know, going to try to make a move here. Again, lumpy, up and down, no respite. And watching almost 2K to go. Now our chase pack is about to connect and is going to make it to us. And here's the deciding moment where Andrew from Bing Bong went off the front. We all just kind of let him. I think there was he took advantage of some bad positioning on our part. I tried to, bridge, slow it down with the K to go. I tried to bridge here. I knew I was pulling everyone to the, to the bridge with me, but I figured I would probably have some left in the tank to sprint at the end anyway. You see how slow it is after? It always shocks me when I'm doing these videos. So 700 meters to go. I'm trying to see if people are going to bite on my little fake out here where I dropped 10 watts per kilo and make people a little bit nervous, but nobody bit. I'm in terrible position, like off the front with 500 meters to go. This is not where you want to be. So I say, okay, well, forget it. I'll see if I can make up the 6 seconds on Andrew by just trying to dig hard and make up the gap. And there I go in my full sprint, create some separation. I can see him, but I know I'm not going to catch him. And I make a giant mistake here and just let off the gas. And look what happens. Zoom. I get caught at the line. Pretty annoyed with myself. Finished third. Stupid mistake. So here's how it all played out. The overall totals for the top 3 teams. I managed to rack up 158 points total, which is the high on the night. But Bing Bong had a really strong showing across the board with their team. And this shows 2 of our guys not scoring points, but I think that's just because the scores weren't updated yet. And so we finished second on night, which is pretty happy with. And overall at the table, we are sitting second, 2 points behind on the Rivet TWSS. So maybe next week there's a chance. We'll see. Should be a fun time. And see if we can put together a squad to win. Now, I just wanted to take some time again and talk about my intervals chart. I got a huge FTP bump tonight, and it's in large part due to those sort of 5-minute efforts. I did 4 minutes 30 seconds at 391 watts, which I don't think I've ever done that sort of power before. So I'm really happy with that. I PR'd 5 minutes at 371 watts, which is 5.2 watts per kilo, and a 13 watt bump to my FTP apparently. So I'm sitting at about 311 now. I don't know about all that, but these algorithms will do what they do. Regardless, I think I see 5-minute power as my weak my weak point in my power curve. And so I'm pretty happy to see some improvement there. And 430, 391 for 430 means I could probably even do higher 5-minute power. But we'll see where that shakes out, and see if I can carry these numbers into the summer season. I don't want to peak too early, but I'll probably have to take a bit of a break at some point before racing outdoors starts, to make sure that I don't crash this summer and end up, kind of bonking mid-season. So overall, happy with the night, annoyed with myself for not getting the finish right, but what are you going to do? It is what it is. And strong showing by Dirty Rascals Grit. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.